to our ambassadors and representatives of our foreign friends, my colleagues in the executive branch. I understand my colleague in the legislative branch, Mr. Royce, former Congressman Royce, is here. Welcome to you and to each and all of you, and to the Smithsonian Ohana, as we call it in Hawaii, our family. Let's see, good evening, good day, aloha. It is so nice to spend just a little bit of time with all of you here, not only because of the enduring friendship between the United States and Australia and our other friends and allies and partners in the Indonesian Indo-Pacific region, which is so important to our world, but as noted, of course, I represent the great state of Hawaii that has a long and very special relationship with Australia, a relationship that goes back to the time of Cook. Of course, you don't like to admit it in Australia, but the Dutch, I think, arrived on your shores first, but you think of Cook as really being the first major person from, by the way, I apologize to anybody of Dutch origin or from the Netherlands here, but I'm just telling the story of Cook, and Cook, of course, on his first voyage, and the incredible botanist Joseph Banks, such a dedicated person, later president of the Royal Society, which sponsored that voyage. And we think about that voyage as a voyage of exploration, of discovery, and we forget maybe along the way that it was first and foremost a scientific voyage. It was a voyage to observe the transit of Venus, and along the way there were many beautiful and incredible discoveries by Cook and Banks, and who documented the entire trip. And of course, Cook came back to do two more great voyages in the Pacific, the third of which he was the first Westerner, at least we think he was the first Westerner to come into Hawaii. It turned out that Cook was not such a good navigator when he went to Australia, since, as I recall, he ran up on the Great Barrier Reef and got stranded for about 2 months. But he did a lot better than in Hawaii, where he met his demise, and so we welcome and we cherish his last days on Earth in Hawaii and remember him there. But Banks was incredible. What I'm very eager to see here, the documentation of the world that was so different from the United Kingdom and from Britain and England in those days, was a real shock when people saw it for the first time back. There was such diversity in the world out there in the Pacific, in Australia, New Zealand, and other places that they went to, and it sparked a great interest of discovery by others, and it contained really a repository of the beautiful natural world that as it had evolved over so many millions of years. A world that sadly today is threatened, as was noted. So it's not just our oceans, but it's our flora and fauna on land that we see threatened. For example, right in Hawaii, my own home, we have seen somewhere around 300 endemic species that Banks' successor on Cook's third voyage documented endemic species that are now extinct. And so this is not only a time to celebrate the 250 years since, and to celebrate those voyages and celebrate our friendship and marvel at this great exhibit, but it's also, I think, a very important time for us to really commit ourselves to the preservation of our natural world, because many of the pictures that we have from Banks are no longer with us. And that is a loss not only to our countries, but to our world, our collective world. And so let's take from this not just the incredible discoveries and the incredible marvels that were documented so incredibly well, but also that commitment. I thank you very much for your partnership in all this. I thank you for all of the efforts that we are all committed to. Mahalo.